Good evening, and thank you for joining another scene for C20 Changeling, um, The Dreaming. Um, Caldwell will start this scene exiting some random bar, um, having just left a few of his kin, not kin, but other changelings and a friend. After Puck had left to go handle some business with a two others, and a little exhausted from all that. He pulls out his phone and he sends a text to um, Alice, asking if he could talk to her for a moment in person, and we'll start there as he is waiting at the designated um, location to meet that he gives her uh, through the text. And we'll just say it's like in front of some kind of library or something. He's just outside, kind of like sitting on a bench.
Alice will show up. She has a wry smile on her face as she approaches, purse over one shoulder, kind of looks Caldwell up and down. So, I take it you're not armed.
He kind of just looks around like, like how does she fucking know? And he just kind of like opens the flap of his coat and just kind of shows that yeah he's not, and she could see both sides of him. So yeah, and he just kind of nods quietly. Yeah, I apologize. Still don't have anything yet. We haven't gone to Goblin Town yet.
True, but I think there's something I have here that will be of use to you.
Is it the sword again? He just says.
No, no, something far, far more indestructible.
He just cants his head.
She'll slide a case like the one she had before up to him.
Hmm. And he'll take it and just kind of look it over.
The flail's inside there. You should be fine.
Oh, okay. A flail.
Well, we are going to a place where there was an explosion, and last I checked, explosions tend to not happen on their own. Um, so
Yeah, that's more than fair. Sure, I'll make do. Thank you.
you're welcome. Plus, it's indestructible. I mean, worst thing you can do is use it as a shield, right?
He just smiles with his black lips, and he just nods. Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, I guess I don't need to explain why I asked you here. You seem to be already on the up and up.
It wouldn't hurt to hear it again.
Well, I've came into some information about, Staten Island and the government there not doing so well, and that um, excuse me, I forget his name. I don't know, I can't remember if you mentioned it, but
The governor of Staten? No, I haven't.
yeah, the governor of Staten, it doesn't seem to be doing so well. There's a rumor that he might not even make it.
And that is going to cause a massive amount of problems in this area.
And that's why I called you. I have no clout in this area, and I'm still meeting a lot of people, and you are connected, as anybody as I know, to um, the uh, the upper echelon of the folks here. So I figure to give you a call and see if you would come with me and check things out.
Well, I'm more than happy to. I am going to warn you in advance, however, that clout and connections might not be all they're cracked up to be when it comes to me.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll just make sure we try to come out of this in the best way possible.
True. Though, again, the best outcome I can think of with this would be something along the lines of no outcome at all. Just we show up, everything's fine, no problems whatsoever. People aren't trying to burn each other in the streets.
I'm more than fine with that, trust me. But it wouldn't hurt to see if we can find anything either. Maybe, a little morsel over here. Just kind of mumbles off a little bit. That slew where they want, they want information. So, yeah.
Be careful what you wish for.
Oh, the old saying. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's just an old. Some would say that we're old sayings.
I'm sorry, what did you say? You kind of broke up.
I wouldn't say that's just an old saying, especially when it comes to us. I mean, after all, there are those who would say that we're nothing more than old sayings.
Of course, you're right.
Well, that said, what do you know so far in particular about the explosion?
I know that it was caused by a pair of Zeppelins, I believe.
Which gets back to why Zeppelins?
Yeah, the Zeppelins seem rather, 1940s, 50-ish in that manner. Why? Why you just don't see them anymore? It
Yeah,
does raise
that
a bunch of questions.
for me it raises more than questions at this point because you said that well the leadership's not going to make it, so potentially I think it's
Well, when something as big as a pair of Zeppelins crash on Staten Island, I mean, I would assume that, the destruction is just kind of out of extraordinary.
exactly so worrisome. I'm just saying with the ranter threat that we had to deal with before, see where this is going.
I'm not too keen on the ranter situation. I came here just as that ended, I believe.
So there were the ranters were pretty sure we rounded up most of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just leave that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure.
Well,
So
hopefully they have nothing to do with this, but I guess this is what we'll find out. I do recall that there is also a couple council members that have perished from this unfortunate event.
and it's only going to cause more instability. And instability helps absolutely no one other than those who don't like the status quo. So let's go
Which
find out
is
what's happening.
which is why I think you were probably the best person for me to call.
Let's hope.
We'll be fine, I'm sure. His voice quivers a little bit at the end of that. But yeah, he kind of like takes the case and puts it aside, and he looks ready to go. And once you start moving, he'll instead of like walking behind you, he'll actually sidle beside you.
All right. She will lead the way. Good to head into Staten then.
So yeah, you guys will take the ferry over to Staten. And So the location of um, the governor's freehold in Staten Island is actually not that hard to get a hold of. So I would imagine that's where you guys are headed. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So when you get there, this is what you're going to see.
Oh no.
It is pretty badly burned.
Oh my. How could anybody live through that? It's basically a husk.
That's not something we should probably be asking ourselves right now.
And he just kind of, his eyes just kind of roll at her, like not rolling because she said that, or because he's like, oh gosh, why is she so, they just roll and look at her, silently, and he just kind of goes quiet. My apologies if that was disturbing.
The situation is not disturbing as much as it's disheartening. This is not. This is worse than I expected.
Hmm. Well, we certainly won't find anything here. Let's move forward, I guess.
Right. Right.
And as they move forward, like Caldwell's gonna just make sure like he keeps a really sharp ear out in case like anybody might be like crying for help or anybody talking. Like he could pick anybody else up that might be just anybody here in general.
Um, so initially you don't really see anybody. Um, there is some like police tape blocking it off because it's a casualty of the massive fire that has engulfed Staten Island. So you'd assume that it's been monitored by mundane police,
Mm-hmm.
but other than that, initially you don't see anybody.
Mm,
Any of those really sharp fluid senses tinkling?
I don't pick anybody up thus far. Other than you can tell that the cops have been here. Hmm. And he kind of just looks around to see if like cameras and stuff. I mean, I doubt they're working, but anyways, he just kind of slips under the police tape and kind of holds it up for Alice to come through.
She'll duck under it.
Mm. It does smell as if though the fire is still burning. Which must be just the. He just kind of mumbles to himself.
Alice is following him, looking around.
But yeah, I think they would probably just make their way to the house proper, and again, they
Okay.
would just keep their senses sharp for this. Seeing what they can catch and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Uh, Alice is Not going to magical girl form. She is still. Does it look like there's any sign of anyone around here at all?
You get the feeling that there's probably somebody there inside.
Then she'll take the lead then and she'll walk inside.
Mm-hmm. Caldwell will be close on her heels.
How bad is it on the inside?
It's very scorched. There you can tell like where furniture and stuff was. It's been pretty cleared out. But from the damage and the devastation, it's not likely that the house itself can be repaired. However, the balefire for the freehold is still going.
Well, this is a good
So
sign.
that didn't get destroyed in the fire, and so near the balefire for the freehold, you see this woman. And she kind of looks at both of you with that same look as what's on her picture. Hey. And in a very hoarse, hushed whisper, "Who are you?"
Alice Amari. Baroness Alice Amari of Manhattan.
And I am Caldwell from Queens.
So she acknowledges Caldwell more than she does Alice.
Caldwell just looks at Alice kind of blankly and then creeps a little closer to the fellow Slua.
Alice has.
I'm sorry. He doesn't get
Alice
too far in there. I'm sorry.
Alice has just a smirk on her face. She's thinking back to what she told you earlier. Her connections might not amount to anything, or be as beneficial as you thought.
Right.
Are you okay?
She nods. There is a very real possibility that as the governor's second hand, I may have to take over the remainder of his term.
Is that something you
Somebody
wish
has to
do?
guard the balefire.
Mm. Is that something you wish to do?
She gives a slow nod. It is something I am prepared to do. I was the one who lost to him in the election.
I've heard that other council members have perished. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Mm. And he just kind of looks around. And what of the governor himself?
That remains to be seen. He's still hanging on. He is in hospital. None of our healing can help him. It's a waiting game.
I see. He just looks around. Is there anybody else here?
No. Not at the moment, anyway. His bodyguard comes back and forth. Of course, she is very worried about Andrew. But she stays here with me at night. Trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do. The insurance on this place, of course, will cover it, but as you can see, she kind of points around. Not much to salvage. We'll need a completely new structure.
Well, if you decide to take over, I guess it gives you room to decorate as you see fit.
Her lips curl into a slight smile. This bitch is a slew. You know exactly how this place is gonna look. You're gonna build it Victorian style.
Yep. That's what he was thinking.
Of course, I don't wish harm to our governor, but depending on the length of his recovery, if he recovers, he won't be able to lead.
Man, no government here would not help anybody. And then you would have to deal with other threats that might try to capitalize on the destabilization.
Do you know who wrought this destruction upon our island?
And he just gives a silent shake of his head, like long, slow, like almost like like a door slowly opens, like he just creaks left and right. No. Not yet, anyways.
I do.
Alice's eyes dart up at that statement.
She gets this look of almost hatred in her eyes.
Caldwell just kind of like sets the case like on the ground, and he kind of squats, almost like a spider sitting like in the middle of its spider web, in a sense. He just looks at her. He almost looks at her expectantly.
I tell you, you have to know it is not a issue we wish to pursue. It's just an unfortunate, very unfortunate casualty of a different situation that had nothing to do with us but affected us greatly. There was a conflict between two organizations, I guess you would call them, like political factions, if you will, of vampires.
Vampires.
They are the ones that caused the fighting between them.
And he turns and looks at Alice. I guess that answers why the proclivity for Zeppelins was a thing.
I feel that they were very foolish to use such a major form of air strike. I know that they have similar rules against outing themselves. So I'm not sure why they would make such a big show of their conflict, but she shrugs. It's really not for me to figure out. I don't really care to deal with them any more than I absolutely have to.
I understand. Though, considering the Heisenberg crashing, looking around here, at least going by photos, was 2 Zeppelins all that caused this? And he kind of just holds his hand out, like splaying across the horizon of destruction.
Mm. From what I understand, this area is also important to them, so I'm assuming that they will help rebuild it.
Mhm. Well then, what is it that you need? Or should I say, what is it that you want?
As much as we try to stay separate from the goings on of the county, you can tell that this kind of pains her to say. Support. We need it. I understand that Brooklyn has instituted a government similar to ours.
The governing.
We are called the Electorate of Forgotten Shores. A democratically run government. We tend not to involve ourselves in the politics of other baronies, but she looks down a little bit. I suppose when circumstances such as these arises, we do have to admit that we still need our fellow changelings that still subscribe to the older ways.
As far as I understand it, we're all beholden to the right of rescue, I understand. Whether this or
She nods.
fighting some dragon in some cave, blah blah blah.
She actually chuckles a little bit at that.
Is there anybody in particular that you think that would be more amenable to your plight?
I'm sorry, what did Caldwell say?
Does she know anybody that might be more amendable to her plight, like her need for help?
I would imagine the Brooklyn Council. I haven't reached out. I thought maybe I could take care of this myself, but she shakes her head. The more I find out about the extent of the damages, what it's going to take to rebuild, I can't. And with the other things going on, the nightmares and all, it's a lot.
Caldwell just looks at Alice, just kind of silent for a moment.
I know you haven't reached out, but we saw the tragedy in the news ourselves in Manhattan. One of the reasons I'm here is to offer any aid and assistance that the barony, my barony, has access to.
Most of our security perished in the fires trying to save this place. So we are very low on that. Do you have any extra security you could send our way? Would be appreciated.
We actually have security trained for just such an emergency.
And
Nods.
didn't Sebastian come into a bevy of knights looking for a place?
And we've been training them as a quick reaction force.
This almost seems fortuitous.
We were worried that other incidents beyond the ranters might occur. Incidents that would require a rapid response and a light touch. Not just martially, but uh, rebuilding.
And he just smiles at her because apparently her ties are coming into play, and yeah.
On top
Yeah,
of which,
I was just gonna say out of character, congratulations, you got her to swallow her fucking pride.
and lastly, this might be incidental, but there's a charity concert that's going to be held soon.
Oh,
Hmm. For Staten Island.
her brows go up.
You might call it a dream.
We need dreams. Thank you.
Well, I believe I can speak with the Brooklyn Governing. I seem to spend a lot of time there these recent nights to get away from the nightmares. I can see if I can pull their ears and whisper at them. Maybe I can put a bug in it for you. And he just smiles.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Um, Strange question, but if I requested it, would there be a way to get in contact with maybe the? And she looks kind of um uneasy saying this. Vampires?
She kind of hisses a little bit. I believe it would be within your best interest to just stay away from them.
It would behoove us to keep an eye on them at least. just so we can maybe avoid something like this in the future.
I know the perfect person to keep an eye on him. And it would never get back to Staten Island.
He
He's
cut.
listening.
He just kind of cants his head again.
There are a group of them that stay within the sewers. They
She
might be
nods.
ones to forge an alliance with.
Silas?
Hmm.
William Black.
He knows vampires.
No, but he has eyes everywhere in the city.
Hmm.
I think you should, when you go speak with Brooklyn, mention something about this. You heard it from a little bird. That's the English phrase, right?
Yes. And just so I'm clear, I heard the little bird speak about vampires.
Sewer ones.
Gotcha.
Miriam inclines her head at in approval of that sort of way of inquiring about it.
Do you think them knowing about the aid from Sebastian would do more harm than good, considering all the problems that they had with him? He looks to Alice.
With him, with me, with nobles in general, and with everything that's been happening. I think that it's going to be bad whether they find out from you or they don't find out at all. Be upfront.
That's what I was planning to do, but I just wanted to make sure. I mean, I don't mind lying if I need to, but like you said, they would find out either way.
Well, by the time they get here, they're going to find that our forces are here helping out. Helping out. They're not
She
going to
nods.
be, we're not going to impose any rules. They'll do whatever you need.
That's what I needed to know. I'm sure they would ask.
She shakes her head. I don't think they will.
Hmm.
I think they're going to assume.
Well, if they don't take my word for it, then, well, that'll be bad for them.
No, I think they'll take your word if they asked, but I don't think they're going to ask.
Well, then I'll just make it loud and clear that that's not what's going on here.
She giggles at that.
He does kind of smile too, because it's kind of like a oxymoron for a fucking slua.
Well, how many times has anyone listened to the voice of reason?
Not many.
Then if things don't go according to plan, don't worry about it.
But I will, because my kithmate is basically suffering and in need of help, so either way, I'll do my best to assist you.
Works for me. And besides, I think everything's going to work out.
And he nods, kind of like predicating her sentence for her. Is this acceptable to you?
She nods. It is.
Well, then I better make sure everything's getting moving right away. And she looks around. How good are your people at covering things up?
Was that directed to Miriam?
Yep.
She gives a very slight smile. Very.
Do you know one of the biggest benefits of being a magical girl?
He just kind of hangs his head a little bit. Because he's thinking about him wearing a fucking magical dress in the future.
We're all endowed with the ability to fix that which is broken. And I don't think Staten Island should be operating their freehold in a state of disrepair when I can do something about it.
She nods.
Right the fuck now, she says. And as she does that, she is going to have you guys ever seen Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Claps her hands together, smashes them into the ground in front of them, just out of nowhere.
Silence
And
kind of
in
goes into like a crab walk thing, like after that. Like, yeah, sorry.
and in Japanese screams the word transmute. And since she didn't check to see if there was any witnesses to this, I feel this is a very, very reckless but unique bunk. I
It is.
am
I'm giving you a -5. This is great.
excellent.
Shit.
And since it's not a combat roll, I can spend a willpower,
You
right?
can, yes.
And because of the fact that I'm out of my Goram mind with this, so I'm going to spend that willpower. Why does my Alice sheet not keep coming up? Oh, because I'm hitting the wrong button. Enter is something you're supposed to hit on a keyboard before it goes to
Enter.
Alice
Enter.
Alice has seen 2, and this is a house, is it not? A one-story house, judging by the picture?
Yes, it is a house. I believe it was actually here. Let me put it back. 2-story.
It is a 2-story house. Okay, so she can't hit that with level 1. Level 3 is Lonely Lane. Level 4 is Outdoor Area. She's dropping 3 glamour.
Wow.
This is a Fey. This would be a Fey thing because it's a freehold, right? It wouldn't be prop.
Right. Yeah,
Okay. So,
because I mean, you actually are gonna need both realms. You're gonna need Fey and prop because it's a freehold and it's a weird structure.
oh, that's fine. What level prop is going to be required?
Let me look at the prop realm real quick. I actually have Arts and Realms open. So
Yay!
1 second. Yeah, I was looking at it yesterday.
1, perfect. I'll just spit.
No, it's more than prop 1. I'm thinking it's at least 3, but I need to look.
All good.
It'll come on, go. Oh, you
You
stupid
know,
thing.
books
There we
don't
go.
ever work that way.
No, they don't, especially digital ones.
Nope. If they
Okay,
went at the
so
speed you wanted, they wouldn't be digital.
come on, prop. Okay. Oh, actually, it's seen.
Just seen.
It
I
is.
wouldn't. I would not
It's.
need prop.
It's no. You wouldn't need prop. It is
Okay.
seen. It's It is Fey and seen, and it's going to be scene 3.
Really, only seen 3?
Yep. Only
Yeah.
scene 3.
Be happy.
Well, no, I have a shit ton of glamour. I am. So in that case, she'll hit it with scene 3. So I only need to spend 1 glamour for that. An additional glamour because this is definitely a weird effect.
Mm-hmm.
I am activating Pyretics 3,
Okay.
which allows you to purify things and make them like new, if I recall right.
Mm-hmm. Does.
Um, and so with that, she is going to repair this house to the best of her ability.
All right. Let's see your roll.
All right. I was picking up real dice. Wow.
Yeah, I need you to roll it in Discord. I need to see it.
What? You're not actually clairvoyant in real life?
No.
Okay, so I am at 10 dice, no nightmare. I have +1 success from the willpower. And okay, so one's cancel. It was +1 diff for that, so that's -4 total. So diff is 4, so that negates the 2 4s. That leaves 9, 8, 8, 4, 7. 9, 8, 8, 4, 7. 5 successes +1 from willpower is 6.
Well, okay. Uh, so narrate what happens. I want you to do this. This is exceptional success. The house is going to be restored to perfect condition.
So as soon as her hands smash into the floor, hearts go out in every direction. Pink hearts surrounded by golden yellow flames as they just start racing around and engulfing the house in their aura. Eventually, until the house itself has a sort of anima banner, kind of like the key field around characters in any good anime. And as these
Right.
flames lick the house, burning away impurities and destruction and nastiness and resurrecting it, for a brief second, the house is completely consumed, leaving it a strange structure of ash floating around before erupting once more in a bright flash that envelops the entire area and then collapses in on itself. And as the light collapses in, the new, improved, and rebuilt Freehold is all that remains.
So, yeah. And it actually is going to look better than it did before. Um, Hang on, I am trying to find a picture that pretty much fits it. Yeah, I think I like.
Make the ST work.
Yeah, I like this one. So save image. So basically, what she's going to do is, yeah, she's gonna have to do a lot to cover this up. But hey,
No one's going to complain about a rebuilt Freehold, as far as I know.
no, but it's going to cause a little bit of questions in the real world.
Oh, I
Unless
have
she veils it,
I
which
have a
she could.
feeling. What?
I said
Sorry.
unless she veils it, which she could do that. Um, Death 1, Alice 3. I like that.
And so,
So this is what the new structure looks like.
sweet new governor's mansion.
So yeah, like the yard and everything completely repaired and restored. Um, Better than it was before. And like Miriam just yeah. She looks to Alice very, very, very grateful.
Caldwell's eyes go a little wide, like, wow.
Yeah, because like even Miriam doesn't have that kind of magic, so she's a little bit in awe. Like, wow, I can't believe you did that. This LWoD does not know pyretics. Um, so she extends her hand to Alice because she had gotten
Alice,
the fuck out of the way when this was going on. She was like, no.
we don't know what's happening.
Yep.
Run! Alice will take her hand, smiling, before letting out a very exhausted, heavy sigh. That was taxing.
Yeah. I was not expecting that. This is, well, a gorgeous place. I would feel bad even throwing a spider web or two here or there.
It's only proper that Staten Island have a nice place to stay, a refuge from the nightmares.
He nods. Yes. It's very noble of you. Thank you.
Only doing exactly what should be done by people who have power. Make things better.
Hmm. So with this, I assume that maybe you might not even need Brooklyn's help, but maybe just the guards to help in the meantime. Is this correct?
She nods. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I will recommend that, if Brooklyn has any help with covering things up, I might have gone a little overboard.
It's I'll figure it out.
Well, um, not to spoil the party, but I'm pretty sure what I did is going to attract some attention. So those who don't want to be caught by the attention probably should leave. She says sheepishly, I guess I should take my leave then.
No, I'll come with you.
Don't want it to cause any controversies, that might inhibit the charity.
He nods.
I do have the magic necessary to veil this place to where in the mundane gray world it looks like it did before, but to us it looks like this.
That'll confuse some people. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Well then, looks like things are well underway, and you'll be taken care of.
Thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
More than happy to help.
Indeed. Well then, I guess we should be going then.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Oh, has word gotten here yet about the nightmares?
Out
How
of
to
character,
alleviate?
she mentioned them earlier, but she didn't elaborate. So
How to alleviate them?
she shakes her head. No.
Well, she says, handing over some notes. There's some information I have. We're trying to come up with a more permanent solution, but one of the ways that we discovered was sleeping in the dreaming, sleeping near a freehold.
Well, I've been staying here, so I guess that could be why I haven't been as affected.
She nods her head. And so this might help others, though. Ones who aren't as fortunate as the rest of us.
Well, now that this place is back in working order, definitely welcome any changeling that needs a place to sleep.
Alice is smiling wide. Well, I'm glad then we were able to pass on the information.
She nods and gives a smile. I'll keep you up to date on the governor's progress. But if I don't hear promising news by the end of the week, I will take up interim governorship of Staten Island.
All right. I hope everything works out.
Me too. They can tell that she is pretty upset about Governor Andrew's
Ooh,
date.
what kind of upset? Like lover upset or?
No, like they're friends.
Got
So and they were opponents at one point, and then he kept her on as his advisor after she lost to him. So like she cares about him. Um she doesn't want him to die.
Mm-hmm.
For you guys would know that he is a grump boggin, and his name is Andrew Miller.
Gotcha.
Noted.
As far as the other councilman goes, if you need assistance, I can come during the afternoon and late evenings if you require. I'm not very skilled in politics, but I can take notes and make deliveries and whatnot if you need it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I think we have it covered, but if I need assistance, I will reach out to you via well, you know. She winks.
He just closes his eyes and kind of like bows his head kind of lightly. Well then, Alice, may I carry your things?
Oh no. She looks embarrassed at the thought of that. No, I I'll carry my own things. I don't look that bad, do I?
No, but you definitely deserve a lighter step on the way home. A lighter boat ride or ferry ride.
I deserve only that which everyone else has. We're all people.
He just smiles. You'd be surprised how many don't believe Slow are such people, but I will digress. This is not a time for such conversations.
In that case, acting governor, by your leave.
She nods. I will be in touch with you both. Thank you for your assistance. Have a good evening.
You do the same.
He nods and heads inside.
Yeah, Caldwell stands and picks up the case and just gives her a nod. And sidles beside Alice again.
And with that, I think we have our scene.
Yep.
Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene for Living World of Darkness Changeling.